Hello and welcome everyone. Today I want to discuss about a very important topic that for some reason not a lot of people are paying attention to, and that's the smartphone trap. I will share my own personal experience about this issue and how I used to struggle with it. So back in 2013 and 14, that was the first time I started having my first smartphone. And as usual, in the initial days, I was using it just for calling friends and relatives and my family. And slowly, I got into the social media. And you know, as usual, as a teenage boy, around 16, 15, I started using Instagram, Facebook, and I was very active in these platforms. I would post daily, couple of times in Facebook. I would post in Instagram, and then I would come daily check how many likes I got, how many people commented on my post, and how many followers I got. So this was something completely new for me, and I got hooked into it. And to the point that I would, compare myself to other people. Oh, one of my friends got more followers than me. He has more likes than me. He got more friends than me. And then I was constantly trying to, prove myself at that very young age that I'm better. But in the process, I was, wasting a lot of my time and energy on things that was really not important. I slowly became very much addicted to my smartphone, and there were days that I would spend 8 to 9 hours of my time just on scrolling on random, videos on social media and wasting my time. Keep in mind, I'm from a very young age. I was a very ambitious and goal-oriented person. I always had goals in my mind. I used to read books as well, and I used to always have plans for my future. But for some reason, I would never get the time and the discipline to work on those goals. Every time, whenever I would try to work on something, then the instant dopamine hit that the social media and the smartphone that are giving you at that moment, it's something that you cannot resist. So I remember, back in 2016, 17, I thought of making a YouTube channel. I started two, three different YouTube channels in the span of like 3 years. Some of them I had thousands of views as well. But after just a few days, I would stop. The discipline was never there. And instead of just focusing on those goals, those things, uh, like 10 years from now, I would have achieved a lot of the things I if I would continue with those accounts that I had in YouTube. By now I would have had money, you know, subscribers. If not in like millions, I would say in thousands of range, and I could have had a stable income from just a YouTube alone. But I did not focus on it. Instead, I just chose the easy way, and that easy way was, of course, just the smartphone. And slowly, once you get into the smartphone, then you try to chat with the people. You try to spend unnecessary time with your friends, girlfriends, and whoever you want. It's just like the cycle just continues and it never stops. So for me, it continued like that for a very long time, and I remember I used to go to different places, and all I wanted to go there, collect some pictures, and post it in my Instagram or to the social media that, hey, I went here. This is what I did. And some of my friends would do the same thing as well. We really never enjoyed the view, the nature, the places we used to go. And for some reason, we were all there for the picture. And I know for the fact that there were times that I went to particular places, and I just wanted to see the view, click the pictures, and get out. And that's all we did. So this cycle is, if you don't pay attention to it, it is gonna take a lot of your time. Your time just in every time you're kind of reminding yourself that okay, it's just a few minutes. I will just watch Instagram reels for a few minutes, and then the next thing you know, you are hooked there for a few hours. And despite of like this realization that slowly I lost the touch with my own self, and the focus was no longer there, the discipline was no longer there. I became a very irritable person. Like, I used to get very angry and very easily frustrated over little things, and that's what it does to you. It's like it drained the good energy out of your soul, and you're just left with that emptiness, that feeling of not having anything. And slowly I realized that I don't know if some of you guys might have also experienced the same thing, is that there are days you will be having money, you will be having, nice car, family, everything, but you're still not happy. And it's all because of these endless of cycling of scrolling through social media and using smartphone. And that's what it does to your brain. It literally cooks your brain, and you don't have the time to just be in the present moment. If you're tired, you want to scroll through social media. If you're sick, you want to scroll through social media. If you're happy, you want to scroll through social media. And it's literally the cage that we have built for our own self, and we have buried ourselves inside it. And it's very difficult to escape from it. It's like an addiction, like drug addiction. And I'm being very serious about that, because when I decided to quit social media, um, I deleted these social media platforms and accounts and applications from my smartphone. I deactivated all the accounts, but it would only be there for like maybe a few weeks, and then I would return back, and the cycle would continue on and off. So now looking back to the times, I think I see the situation is a lot worse now. There are lots of people, and you can ask this question from yourself as well. If you would have stopped wasting time on social media, on these reels and the TikTok videos, Instagrams, and talking to friends over social media who are not really, interested in your life after all, if you would have put these times on your goals, and you would have stick to one single task and whatever goal that would be, I promise you that within few years you would have achieved the desired outcome. I have so much of regret right now, because last 5 to 10 years, and I'm looking back from 2015 all the way till 2025. If I would calculate everything in my mind, most of it, unfortunately, the productive times of my life were involved just wasting on social media, friends that were not really necessary to have in the first place, using smartphone, and just now focusing on my own self and my goals. So everybody has their own struggles and their own problems, but I think if you stop using smartphone and you focus on your own goals, then I promise you that you can achieve a lot more in your life. And it's very difficult to be disciplined when you have something very easily accessible in your hand, and that can distract you, very easily. See, when you are trying to work on something, the first thing in your mind is that, like, especially if you are used to that instant gratification from social media, it will be very difficult. You will have lots of struggles, in sticking to one thing and trying to focus on one thing, and the discipline will be very difficult to have in the first few weeks. And that's what I struggled with as well. If you have smartphone in your hand, it's literally impossible to just ignore it. Nowadays, whenever I get up, and I believe majority of you might have the same issue. I mean, absolutely everyone is doing the same thing. The moment they get up, the first thought that comes to the mind is like, let me check my cell phone and see what are the new notifications. Who texted me? Let's check the social media. What's going on? And in the process of that, we lose our focus and our discipline. And that's why when you're using social media first thing in the morning for an hour or two, your mind is not in the position to work on a difficult task. And that's something that you have to work on. The first thing that you, when you are getting up from sleep, you have to stop scrolling. You have to commit to the goal that you have. And if it's very difficult for you, the same way it was for me, I deleted this application many times and then I would install it back because it's very easy. You delete it for a few days and then suddenly you are feeling bored and you're like, okay, what should I do? Just scroll and get back to those old habits. And the other thing is that is a lot of other distraction are also available, and that is only accessible through smartphone. Like most of the young people in their teenage and in their 20s, they're struggling with porn videos, pornography, and it's some of them are addicted to it, and it's very difficult to get rid of those addictions if you have a smartphone in your hand and it's easily accessible. So all I'm trying to say is that if it's 2025, it's January, and if you are a person with goals and ambition, I think smartphone is something that you have to keep uh, your discipline around, and you have to watch yourself what you are doing. And if you are just using social media just for the sake of scrolling, I would suggest that you just remove it, delete the applications, and just don't go back there. Just give 1 year to yourself, especially for the people who are poor and they're not making any money. I mean, if you are just watching 2 hours, 3 hours of video of other people doing random stupid shit on social media, and then you are complaining about the miserable life that you have, then I would say, unfortunately, you deserve that life. Because and instead of focusing on what is the right thing to do, you are just distracting yourself on something which has absolutely no meaning. So I just wanted to put this video, and I recently saw some post online, and I thought I will share my own struggle with social media. Nowadays I'm not active on those platforms anymore. I sometimes check Twitter or the X for news once in a while, but I have stopped using it all completely. I no longer post on social media. I only talk to a few people who are very close to me, and overall I'm trying to be more disciplined and focused. But the regret that I still have is something that I will have for the rest of my life. And I want to put this out there to you guys, that if you guys are having the same issue, I would say that it's very the famous quote, it says that normal people learn from their own mistake, but smart people learn from the mistake of others. I think sharing this experience, I think some of you guys should, if you are young and if you're still doing the same thing that I used to do, I think it's time to, really consider quitting social media and try to limit the usage of a smartphone. And I believe within a few years, you will thank me and you will thank yourself, and you will be a lot happier than your current status that you are. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter it's just a fake world. People are doing these things only for the social media, and behind these smartphones, most of them are living miserable life anyway. So just focus and be disciplined on your own goals, and you will not have any of the regrets in the future. So I said these things all from my mind. I hope you guys liked it, and if you like this story, this message, please leave a comment and subscribe so that we can, be together in this process of becoming free from the social media and the smartphone trap. And let's see by the end of 2025 what greatness can we achieve together.